Our top focus at 6. Actor Sanjay Dutt has been granted parole once again from Pune's Yarwara jail for 30 days. This is his second parole in a little over 2 months' time. What has raised eyebrows is that Dutt applied for parole on medical grounds, claiming that his wife Manyata was unwell. His parole application was sanctioned by Pune's Divisional Commissioner. Just a day ago, however, Manyata was spotted at a high-profile movie premiere, seemingly in good health. These pictures of Manyata Dutt casting serious doubts on Dutt's excuse to get a temporary reprieve from jail premises. On October 1st, in fact, Dutt was granted 2 weeks parole on medical grounds, which was later extended by another 2 weeks. He returned to jail on the 30th of October. The 53-year-old actor is serving the remaining 42 months of his sentence for illegally possessing arms in a case related to the 1993 Bombay bomb blasts. The Maharashtra government has promised a probe against the grant of parole to actor Sanjay Dutt. Home Minister R.R. Patil said that the government will investigate the reasons behind granting of parole. The state government has sought information from the Divisional Commissioner and jail authorities. Several outfits have questioned the second reprieve granted to Sanjay Dutt, especially after his wife Manyata was caught at a Bollywood party. Home Minister R.R. Patil said that he will also submit a reply to the State Assembly after carrying out a full inquiry.
मी या सगळ्या गोष्टीची माहिती घेईन. पॅरोल मंजूर करण्याचे अधिकार एक जेल अथॉरिटीला आहेत आणि त्यानंतरचं अपील महसूल आयुक्तांच्याकडे होत असतं. आता महसूल आयुक्त पोलिसांचे रिपोर्ट, डॉक्टरचे रिपोर्ट याच्या आधारे हा पॅरोल देत असतात. महसूल आयुक्तांनी ज्या कागदपत्रांच्या आधारे हे सर्टिफिकेट दिले त्या सगळ्यांचीच मी माहिती घेईन आणि या संदर्भातलं काही निवेदन मी विधानसभेमध्ये करीन.
Protests outside Yarwara jail are being reported against parole to Sanjay Dutt. The protest was led by RPI that was granted a month-long parole to attend to his wife Manyata, who is reportedly unwell and is expected to undergo a surgery. But Manyata's presence at a Bollywood party has created a stir. Earlier, Dutt was granted 14-day parole in the first week of October that had been extended for another 14 days on medical grounds. The 53-year-old actor, who had surrendered in May after the Supreme Court upheld his conviction in the case for illegally possessing arms, is currently serving the remaining 42 months of his 5-year-long sentence. But while Sanjay Dutt has been getting repeated reprieves while spending time behind the bar in the Mumbai blast case, another 70-year-old convict continues to be ignored. Activists say that a different yardstick has been applied while denying any relief for ailing Zebun Nisa, convicted under similar charges.
मैं एडवोकेट विजय पमनानी येरवड़ा जेल के सामने खड़ा हूं. मैं आप सबसे यही पूछना चाहता हूं, क्या संजय दत्त के लिए अपने कानून में अलग से कोई प्रोविजंस बनी हुई है कि उनकी बीवी की तबीयत खराब है और वो उनसे मिलने जाना चाहते हैं और उनको छुट्टी दी जा रही है? क्या बाकी जिनको सजा मिली है, बाकी जो आरोपी है जिनको सजा मिली है, उनके परिवार के सदस्यों को कभी कोई बीमार नहीं होता, कोई हॉस्पिटल में एडमिट नहीं होता, किसी की मौत नहीं होती, उनके तो एप्लीकेशन रिजेक्ट कर दिए जाते हैं? सेम केस जिसमें परवेज नजीर शेख जो 93 बॉम्ब ब्लास्ट केस के आरोपी है, उनसे मुझे आज तक मिलने भी नहीं दिया गया है.
All right, for more, let's get in a word from our correspondent Susan, who's joining us from Mumbai this evening. Susan, clearly a different yardstick being used to give Sanjay Dutt parole and being denied parole to Zebun Nisa Qazi, who's 70 years old, and we're being told that she is not in the best of health.
That's correct, and which is why we've been having protesters outside Sanjay Dutt's house with black flags shouting Sanjay Dutt hi hi, and clearly everybody's been missed, because a different demarcation is being used for Sanjay Dutt, and questions are also being raised on Manyata Dutt's health because she was spotted at the screening of R. Rajkumar on Thursday, but we have the latest development is that we have a statement being issued by a doctor in one of the broadsheets that yes, she does indeed have some problem with her liver, which is but the thing is she's not able to go ahead with the treatments that she needs to take up because she needs somebody like her husband next to her, but seeing everything that there is no confirmation as such, and nobody from the family has given a proper statement as to whether what is the status of Manyata Dutt's health, which is why there's a lot of speculation about this whole issue as to why Sanjay Dutt is being allowed to come home, and that that clearly the actor is being given a privileged treatment.
All right. In fact, State Home Minister R.R. Patil has said that he will be submitting a detailed report before the Assembly. Susan, thanks so much for those details. Let's quickly take a look at the other national stories that we're tracking this evening. Former managing editor of Tehelka magazine, Shoma Chaudhary, today recorded her statement before the Goa police in the rape case filed against Tehelka founder Tarun Tejpal. Meanwhile, Tejpal will be produced in court later in the day as his 6-day remand in police custody expires. Police are expected to seek an extension. Days ahead of Modi's much-awaited rally in Ranchi, Maoists have threatened to attack top Bihar BJP leaders. Maoists have put up posters in Jharkhand's Latehar district, threatening to target, among others, former Deputy Chief Minister Sushil Kumar Modi. YSR Congress Chief Jagan Mohan Reddy met UP Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav in Lucknow to seek his party's support for United Andhra. After the meeting, Akhilesh said that his party was against the division of any state. Jagan's meeting with Akhilesh comes barely 2 days after he met with Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Jayalalitha. Mumbai's metro train run was conducted today. It was a trial run. A metro train was allowed to run between Ghatkopar and Versova, followed by 6 trial runs of other trains on the same route. Regular metro services are expected to begin from March next year. Now to our focus on the battle for the states. It's nothing like Delhi has ever seen. This is the state that has given the Congress 3 consecutive terms in power. Around 2011, both the Congress and the BJP sat smug. The Congress confident that despite a plethora of negative issues, Sheila Dikshit's personal charisma and development work would help them tide over an image of crisis. The BJP convinced that anti-incumbency against the Congress would help the Saffron Party sail through. But a tsunami hit them both in the face, knocking them off their high horses in November 2012 when the Aam Aadmi Party came into being. Is that going to change the power equation in Delhi? Take a look.
2012 was a good year. Sheila Dikshit was busy dancing with rapper Yo-Yo Honey Singh. BJP was pretty certain their man Modi was the cure of all their troubles. He had won his Gujarat, now he would win Delhi for them. But then this happened.
देश की जनता जो है परेशान हो चुकी है और देश के आम आदमी, आम औरतों, आम बच्चों ने मिलकर ये तय किया है कि अब हम अपनी पार्टी खुद बनाएंगे.
As things stand, Delhi is poised to choose between status quo, the usual alternative, and the untried newbie with big promises and ambitious goals.
Let's take a quick look at how the main parties in the fray had fared in the last 2 elections. First, let's take a look at 2008 figures. The Congress had a clear majority with 43 seats. They got 40.31% of the vote share. The BJP tailing far behind at 23 seats. What's interesting though is that in terms of vote share, the BJP was quite close at 36.84%. The BSP also a pretty good showing, managing to bag 2 seats. They had absolutely no seats in the 2003 elections. The Congress did lose 4 seats between 2003 and 2008, and that's exactly what the BJP managed to capitalize on in 2008.
But what's really got everyone aflutter this time around is the record voter turnout. From just above 57% in 2008, the voter percentage jumped to 65.86%. What does that mean?
Now, what it indicates historically is that increases in turnout hurt the Congress incumbency more than they hurt the BJP incumbency.
The Aam Aadmi Party claims that the voter enthusiasm reflects not just the anti-government mood, but also mass mobilization in support of the Aam Aadmi Party. What they don't mention is that this mobilization could well be for the BJP too. The BJP, for its part, will be wondering whether the last-minute chief ministerial candidate musical chairs ended up denting their viability. For the Congress, the list of imponderables goes on. Right now, the main worry would be for Sheila Dikshit to retain her New Delhi constituency in the face of challenge from Kejriwal and Vijender Gupta.
Arvind Kejriwal will find that he's in an awkward situation. If the exit polls tell us anything, they tell us that Delhi is unclear. So the chances are he will not get an overall majority, he will not form a government. But equally, it suggests that nobody can form a government without some kind of tacit support from the Aam Aadmi Party.
All bets are off this time in Delhi. Never has Delhi been so uncertain about its results. But weighing heavy on everybody's minds is also a possibility that maybe in another couple of months the state may go to polls again with a hung assembly, a very real possibility this time. With camera person Subodh Saxena, this is Aditya Narayanan for Headlines Today.
India has scored a major victory at WTO talks in Indonesia. The World Trade Organization reached its first ever trade reform deal today with a roar of approval from nearly 160 nations gathered on the Indonesian island of Bali. The talks had begun under a cloud because of an insistence by India at the outset that it would only back an agreement if there was a compromise in food subsidies. While India had insisted on a permanent exemption from the WTO rules, the final text aimed to recommend a permanent solution within 4 years. The deal at WTO could add $1 trillion to the global economy. An eventual compromise was greeted with jubilation by Trade Minister Anand Sharma.
India had persisted throughout the negotiations that the right of countries to public stock holding for food security must be recognized, must be secured. Ever since the establishment of the WTO, this is the first decision which will resonate in all continents, particularly in developing countries, poor countries.